Will everybody take a deep breath with me? Thank you. My name is Jorie McCann, and I have been a member of this congregation for 7, maybe years-ish. I've been passionate about activism work since over a decade ago. But in that decade plus, I have realized that activism is only the beginning, because you cannot ignite passion in others, people, without grace, vulnerability, and curiosity. So I'm working a different muscle than the final sermon that was printed last night at 9 p.m. I have also felt like a weirdo. I've always felt like a weirdo. I was a tomboy, and I wasn't interested in the social ladder. I didn't know how to navigate this. It was not how everyone around me was doing life, and I succumbed for a long time to packing away my weirdo self and trying hard to be like everyone else. I felt so deeply estranged from my true self in the life I had created that I lost myself for a little while. Hindsight is such an interesting thing. It is easy for me to say now that of course I was queer. Of course I was queer. I know, it's hard. Of course I was queer. Of course I was trying to find people like me, but I was also afraid of not being unique. The masks became second nature. But something I have now learned is that you can only find yourself and subsequently your people when you do the hard work of getting in your heart and looking at what you are afraid of. The first time I found out about transgender people, I was 18 years old. It was 1998. I was lucky enough to go to a very cool boarding school, and sometimes a human's got to go to the health center. There was one nurse there that was so compassionate and kind to me. We're going to call him George. I don't know if you remember being 14, but it is hard. And when there is an adult you can identify as an ally, you don't easily forget them. After I graduated, I called the health center to try to ask George and to talk to George, and the person who picked up snickered and said, "You mean Gloria? George is now Gloria, and he doesn't work here anymore." I figured out how to find Gloria and ask her to go to coffee with me. We met at a spacious, colorful bookstore with big windows and chairs in southern New Hampshire, and Gloria showed up in a skirt and clogs, smiling wide. Her red, curly hair was longer than the last time I'd seen her, and she was wearing makeup and earrings, and I felt intrigued and interested and nervous. Over the next 2 hours, Gloria proceeded to tell me how she had felt like a girl since she was little, and explained that it was the 60s and her parents were adamantly opposed to any exploration like that. She felt very trapped in her male body from a very young age. I could not imagine. She walked me through what it was like to navigate a place and time that didn't feel like it could hold or accept who she was. This was part of the beginning of me figuring out who I was. But then I saw Boys Don't Cry, and it frightened me back into my fear hole. I was still floored and impressed by Gloria's survival. The empathy she sparked in me that day was a little pearl, an awareness that kept me looking for courageous people and experiences that might help me see the authentic, fragile world more clearly. I moved around and made queer friends in a lot of places throughout my life before I got here 8 years ago. I found brave people living in spaces that they made braver just by existing. And when I heard about a book for young people about teen sexuality and relationships called Let's Talk About It by Erica Moen and Matthew Nolan, I knew I needed to read it, not only for me, but for my godkids and maybe the youth I was working with at Montezuma Youth Alliance. I read it, and in reading the section on gender identity, I realized I was non-binary, and I burst into tears. It was a wild thing to learn at the age of 42. I'd known I was pan, the only term that we had in the 90s was bisexual, since I was 13. But new pronouns was a revelation. It was kind of scary, honestly, but it was one of the most important things I've learned about myself in the last 10 years. It made so much sense all of a sudden that I had been hiding from myself in plain sight. Pronouns for me are not just an identifier of gender identity. They are a way to say, I feel different and queer, and I want to be proud about it. They are a way of not conforming to a box or closet because you know you don't fit in there. That is why using correct pronouns is a life-saving action. Pronouns affirm gender identities and create safe spaces for people. When correct names and pronouns are used, statistics show that suicide rates drop while trust and feelings of belonging increase. This is straight off of the National Educators Association Today website. Thank you, Kat. And don't worry, if you mess up, all you have to do is apologize. The key is to try. And don't make it about you. It's not a big deal if you mess up. Just acknowledge it and move on. I asked Reverend Jamie for help with this part, and these are her words. We have to start by humbly showing up, building trust, and being trustworthy. As for UU history, yes, we have a difficult and painful past as we inherit a Christian tradition steeped in white supremacy and theologically harmful moments. In some ways, UU history is US history, and that is a history to be reckoned with, to tell the truth about. We also have a long, incomplete, and painful history of struggle to dismantle racism and oppression, and it still exists in our faith, and people are still harmed. May we look and strive to dismantle those parts of us that still bow subconsciously to the tenets of white supremacy with awareness and tenacity. That change starts with each one of us. We cannot just call ourselves a welcoming congregation. We have to do the actual work of being allies in the world. By honoring pronouns, by seeking the perspective shared by trans authors and artists, you show up as an ally. When you go out of your way to attend events honoring our trans community, like at the Fort Lewis Ballroom tomorrow at 6 p.m., and when you are actively pushing yourself to understand how policy changes affect trans people, and call your senators. And let's be clear, this is also just learning how to be a solid person who can show up to do hard work. As a great trainer, Josh Cocker recently told me, don't play small. There is hard work to do, but it is also the most rewarding work. You can only do that work when you are working from here and from here. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Elija Rae Ware. My pronouns are she, her. I usually go by Eli. Beloved community, today we gather to celebrate Transgender Visibility Day, a day that shines a light on the lives, struggles, and triumphs of transgender individuals around the globe. It is a day to honor those who have faced adversity and to reaffirm our commitment to inclusion, equality, and justice for all. Transgender visibility is not merely about acknowledgement. It is a proclamation of dignity. The transgender community rises, defying the harshness of discrimination and prejudice. As we reflect on the significance of this day, let us draw parallels with another group that has historically faced challenges and stigmatization: individuals with disabilities. Both communities navigate a world often unwelcoming, a society layered with systemic inequality, facing multiple forms of discrimination based on class, race, gender, and age. As we reflect on this, the journey of the transgender individuals is marked by personal courage and resilience. Many have fought not only for their right to exist authentically, but for the basic rights that others must take for granted. This experience parallels the lives of those with disabilities, who often must battle societal misconceptions and barriers that inhibit their visibility and participation. In our world, the intersection of transgender experiences and disabilities often reveals a challenging landscape. For example, many transgender individuals face unemployment and poverty, battles that are exacerbated by the challenges of living with disabilities. The emphasis on visibility must extend to recognizing how these identities overlap, bringing to the surface the complex ways in which the systems of oppression intertwine with one another. The struggles of transgender individuals cannot be separated from broader societal issues such as class, race, and gender. We must understand that the experiences of a transgender person of color differ significantly from those of a white transgender individual, just as they diverge from the struggles of someone living with disability. Our fight for justice must encompass those multiple identities, acknowledging that oppression is not a singular journey, but a multifaceted reality. Marsha P. Johnson, a prominent figure in the LGBTIQ+ rights movement, once said, "No pride for some of us without liberation for all of us." This powerful statement reminds us that our struggles are all interconnected. As we uplift the visibility of transgender individuals today, let us also hold space for the voices often neglected, highlighting the need to fight for justice across all identities. As we stand together, celebrating the visibility of our transgender siblings, let us reflect on our own roles within this movement. The journey of advocacy and education begins with each of us, outside of the comfort of our familiar spaces. Growth only occurs when we challenge ourselves, step into the unknown, and embrace the discomfort that comes with it. I invite you, dear friends, to take actionable steps towards understanding and advocating for the transgender community and those living with disabilities. Attend workshops, read diverse narratives, engage in conversations that you feel uncomfortable in, and perhaps most importantly, listen. Create inclusive environments where everyone feels valued and heard. To sum up Angela Davis, a prominent social justice and civil rights advocate, we should not rely on governments to do the work that mass movements can do. The power that community holds. Supporting each other means standing against injustice, whether that be through speaking out against discriminatory policies, supporting local 2S LGBTIQ+ communities and disability advocacy organizations, or simply offering friendship and understanding to those who fear for being seen who they really truly are. As we close today's commemoration, let us remember that everyone deserves to be seen and celebrated. Transgender Visibility Day is a reminder of the importance of visibility, of recognizing the humanity and experiences of marginalized individuals. May we commit ourselves to a world where every person can exist authentically and with pride. When our transgender brothers and sisters face their darkest moments, it is our collective duty to be beacons of hope and solidarity. We must share their burdens and amplify their voices, for together we can illuminate the path toward understanding and acceptance. Each act of support and compassion fosters resilience, allowing a unique brilliance to shine brightly within our community. By nurturing their light, we not only uplift them and enrich the tapestry of our shared humanity, reminding everyone that love and acceptance can overcome even the deepest darkness, but we nurture our own light as well. Let us support them in navigating their journey toward authenticity and joy. Let us stand united, recognizing that our strength lies in solidarity. Together we can create a community where everyone is uplifted, and no one must navigate their journey alone. So I ask you today, as a congregation, how will you step outside your comfort zone and foster growth, advocacy, and change within our community? Let us rise together. Thank you.